Hi, I'm Warwick Dice, back with more Let's Play Army Men. Do I have a map? No. I really figured there really wouldn't be much of a plot in this. Usually when you say super weapon in the beginning of a game, that means that inevitably you're going to have to fight said super weapon. I mean, that's just a given. Stop doing that. I didn't give you permission to hurt me. Oh, of course. Suicide bombers had to come. Leave me alone. Go away. Okay, I could really use not having these bonsai guys chasing me. That'd be great. Ugh. Let's rock when you're dead. Really? Sure, let's just take so long to throw a grenade. Did I destroy him by accidentally shooting my primary weapon? Apparently I did. Yeah, Operation Green, whatever. Revenge Green, whatever, I don't care. Honestly, I wouldn't have gotten through this game. Obviously, these passwords were probably obtained through like a Game Shark or some other cheat device. And considering that they pretty much had all the passwords in there, it pretty much puts out the message that this game is just obnoxious to beat. Okay. You know, you just say you're destroying all of the Tans, and then you say it'll be years before they can rebuild their military might. Why not just finish the job? Like, I don't get it. Yeah, okay. Ends in a game over. I mean, not like I expected much plot. You'd fight the super weapon or whatever. And really, the super weapon was just spam out whatever you can and hope for the best. So, not very exciting. Okay. So now we're running away, shooting them in the backs as they run. My one dude running out. Running randomly into the jungle, into rocks and stuff. Yeah, thanks for showing up, guys. A little late. Prawn Cracker Jason? Team Amiga? Really? There's one guy standing on that rock. Do I actually control him now? Oh, no. It's a cutscene. And just back to the opening. See, it's painfully generic, and the controls are pretty damn awful. And then on top of that, you know, it's 12 levels of kind of confusing annoyance, and the graphic glitches that you saw in an emulator or bad ROM or, you know, bad game, it happens. You know, I've seen it on a Game Boy, not surprising. And I don't know, this game is one of those games that should have come out at like a $5 or $10 budget buy, or like, I mean, obviously the game isn't so advanced that it would need to actually eat up a whole cartridge, so I think it might have been better if it was like you get Army Men, Operation Green, and then something else, like some other game. Or like if you could play this multiplayer, it might be a little bit more fun, you know, or something. Like something to actually like increase gameplay and game power, because like really this game is like, if you end up beating it once, and I mean most kids look up cheat codes. I mean, kids are notorious for that. When I was younger, I tried to beat games. I would look at cheat codes, and once I beat it, I'd say like, okay, well now I can go back and try to actually legitimately beat it now that I know what I'm expecting in every level, and you know what it needs. And sometimes I just wanted to beat it just for the sake of beating it again, so I'd use a cheat code just to go to like a part that I liked or right to the end. But like this game is, you play it once, one and done. You beat it or you don't beat it. You either like the way the game plays or you don't. So it just ends up really subpar generic. Like, it's unfortunate that Game Boy is a platform, much like PlayStation 1, where you got a lot of generic games that weren't very good or were, you know, rip-offs of other games, or like cloned sequels of other games. And you know, especially with a platform like Game Boy Advance, which is relatively cheap to produce for, you know, it's like not surprising that something like this would come out. And I don't know, I can understand the developer point that this probably made them a fair amount of money. It probably cost them almost nothing to make, and they just kind of tossed it out there. But like, when you have something like the Game Boy Advance and there's like a maelstrom of games, like a perfect example is Mario vs. Donkey Kong. It was a good game, and I played it a couple times. Like I played the demo for it at GameStop, but it came out and didn't sell all that well because there were like 6 other games. I think the new Fire Emblem or whatever it's called came out, and people were like, Mario versus what? I'm sorry, I'm playing Fire Emblem, you know? And because Mario vs. Donkey Kong really didn't have like a story or a lot of gameplay or really anything that didn't make it just generic, it really didn't survive. And I'm pretty sure this Army Men game probably came out at the same time as another game that was more interesting. But this was like that game that along the line someone picks up when the price drops down to like 12 or 15 bucks and then buys it because they're not going to spend $30 on this. I mean, I'd have to say that the entertainment value of watching a movie that I don't even really like in the theaters and paying like 30 bucks for it would be worth more than this game. Like, I really couldn't feasibly see why you'd spend money on this game. I understand if like you're getting a young kid something, you might want to, you know, get him a pile of games just to have him try a little bit of everything and see what they like, and like this game might get thrown into that mix. Like, we used to have a lot of people that would buy it for like, you know, like kids who are not in a good family situation or something. They'd get them a Game Boy, like a used Game Boy Advance or an SP because of the rechargeable battery, so that way, like, you know, the parents wouldn't have to keep going out and buying batteries. So you get them an SP, so all they'd have to do is charge it up, and I mean, you can charge it up almost anywhere and it charges quickly, and then get them a bunch of like cheapo games. So they get them like a racing game, get them like Army Men, and then like, you know, some other generic games, like, you know, a cheap Legend of Zelda game, you know, something that the kid could at least like play for a while. but this game and this kind of game would always be like kind of thrown in the mix of like that. Oh, that's like $6. Yeah, I'll take one of them. You know, people looking for games that are under $10. You know, for holiday gifts or whatever. And some parents used to get them for stocking stuffers. And this game is like a used stocking stuffer. Like you'd peel off the price tag and throw it in there and be like, oh, it's Army. They shoot and kill things. The kids will love it. And it's unfortunate that that's like all it takes to sell a title. Like, I imagine to a parent, like, Army Men, Operation Green probably sounds like pretty interesting. If you're like, oh, there's no gore, like somebody'd be like, oh, I'll get that for my kid. It's okay. But I don't know, I can't like condone this type of game as anything more than just like a generic let's shove something out there. Like I really 3DO made franchises that don't die, and it's so frustrating. I mean, this and Rayman like should have died. I'm so glad that Rayman officially died because people liked the Raving Rabbits more than they liked Rayman. Because frankly, Rayman was an uncharismatic character, uninteresting, and frankly quite ugly. He looked like a Gonzo and a lemming had a twisted baby that didn't actually have any arms, but floating orbs for hands. You know, I don't know. It just wasn't good. Like, I mean, 3DO tried to put themselves out there as like we have games for everybody, and so did like the Philips CDI, and like the Philips CDI had mostly like weird adult games, and then you have the 3DO that tried to do like a little bit of kid stuff, a little bit of adult stuff, and neither really worked. The adult games where you could get on CDI for less actually, and then the 3DO that was like $400 frickin' dollars, and then you know you get like Army Men and like Rayman. And first of all, I've played Rayman for the 3DO on a 3DO in the era that 3DO came out, and it was god awful. Like I know 3DO made an Army Men game. I don't know if it was actually for the 3DO, but I believe there was one. I'm pretty damn sure there was one. Never played it. The only thing I ever know is that most of the games for my friend's 3DO at the time didn't work. None of them worked. So basically you were stuck with like a system that cost you $400. The games were all really not that good. And then half of the time they didn't even play. Or if even you got a scratch on them, it was game over for it. You know, they'd never work again. So, yeah. 3DO as a company, I really hope that they're not producing games anymore. It's just that this kind of game in a gamer's market doesn't belong. Like, I would rather see the money invested in this title invested into like an indie game, or even a port of a PC game that might be like a little one. Like, I would rather see a port of like World of Goo or something, or you know, a port of some other indie game, not Indian game, over this. This just feels uncreative and uninspired, and I think it's, I don't know, it's just a money-making game, and that's really sad. That's all I can say. But my advice is, don't ever play this game. If you see this game, just step away. If someone suggests like, oh, well, I have this, just step away. Just back away. I mean, a kid might find it a little entertaining for a little while, but I almost 100% guarantee that it will be fleeting. He'll play it for like a half an hour and then die and then be like nuts to this game. But yeah. Knowing how I played video games when I was a kid, I would absolutely hate this game. But anyway, that's all for Let's Play Army Men, Operation Green, or as I'm going to call it, Number 7. See you later.